Good morning. Welcome to Children's Worship. It's June 7th, and so today we'll be starting a new worship theme, which is what does it mean to be called as Unitarian Universalists to open doors? And we're focusing on opening the doors to fairness. So we're going to begin with a song that we sing at church a lot, and that is to welcome each other into the circle. And I begin by singing, and I have an open hand and welcome the next person. So you can do that at home too. So figure out who's going to be first and who's going to welcome the next person. And if you're by yourself, you can just imagine welcoming somebody that you see on the Zoom screen. Okay, here we go. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Next person. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Next person. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Thank you. Our chalice lighting today is Evan and Aiden. Here they are.
Can you smile?
Double thumbs up for life. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather an online community to celebrate the glories and mysteries of this great gift. For our mindfulness practice today, we're just going to focus on one of our organs, because one of the things that we do as Unitarian Universalists is have a lot of wonder about about science and about our bodies. And so we're focusing today on our skin. So I'm going to ask you to take a couple of breaths, breathing in and breathing out, and breathing in and breathing out. Good. So one of the things that the skin does for us is to protect us from the outside world. So it keeps the world out and the bugs and kind of dangerous things out, and it keeps us in, right? So one of the things we can do is just give yourself a hug and be grateful for the security and the safety that your skin gives you. Breathing in and breathing out. The skin is like a big hug all the time that we have. Breathing in and breathing out. One of the other things the skin does is give us sensation. So this time we're just going to breathe in and touch your body. Breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. Yeah. Something else the skin does is help regulate our temperature. So we don't get too cold or we don't get too hot. That's also a really important part of what the skin does for us. So see if you can touch your body and just take a few breaths and see if you can feel how warm or cold your body skin is. And just appreciate, wow, my body is making sure that I'm not too hot and not too cold. Are you ready? Breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. And the last thing the skin does is actually process vitamin D from the sun, because our bodies need vitamin D and it comes from the sun, and that's the way the body keeps itself healthy also for this vitamin. So today, if you get a chance to be in the sun, take a few minutes and take a breath and let it out, knowing that that sun, your body is working with the sun to create that vitamin D in your body, which you need. Yeah. So It is so important for us to have gratitude for skin because of all the things that it does for every human being. So let's just bow our heads in gratitude, breathing in and breathing out for all people's skin because it keeps them safe. Breathing in and breathing out. And then we could raise our hands up. This is the other gratitude posture that we have. Raising your hands up. Oh, the skin is awesome. And you can be out in the world with it, right? Every person can be out in the world because they have this great skin. It's waterproof. It helps us keep out bugs, right? Breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in. Yeah, breathing out. Good. So for our moment of inquiry today, I had a little visitor show. I had a little visitor show up, and it's a snake right here next to me. So I'm just going to show you that snake. Here it is. So for those of you who, like me, value the wisdom of animals, a snake will visit you for a couple of reasons. One is that change may be upon us. One may be that you're feeling great energy about an important transition. And another thing is that healing may be right at hand. So I'm hoping that all those things are true. My moment of inquiry question for you is, what would the world be like if everyone in the entire world valued each other's skin as much as you value your own skin? What would our world be like if everyone valued each other's skin as much as they value their own? Because, in my mind, it's a very simple, natural question. If a skin is what helps people stay alive, it is keeping them safe, it is keeping them warm and cool, and it is helping them with a vital nutrient, then this whole system in our world and our culture that has made judgments about people's skin would be really, really, really make no sense at all, right? If we're talking about opening the doors to more justice in the world, a simple thing would be to get rid of this idea that one person's skin or skin tone or skin kind is any different in terms of their basic humanity. Yeah. So when you look at this picture of all these young people and the colors of their skin, here it is. They're all beautiful and they're all protective, right? So that's the kind of world I dream about. But that's not the world we're living in right now. We have people who are white in our society that for a very long time have basically been gatekeepers. They've used their roles in society to perpetuate this or to continue on this practice of treating people differently based on their skin color, especially people who are white using their power of their position to keep the system in place so that black people especially or people of other races are not allowed to do or to be in certain ways that white people are, and that's called privilege. And so we have examples in history like people being told, you will be enslaved in America, you will get on the ship, so that door closing for them, that they would have to get on the ship to come to this country and to work as people who are enslaved against their own will. we have situations like this. And about 70 years ago, where people were putting signs out saying, this restaurant or this store is for whites only. And that's another door closing for access and for equal treatment for people of color, especially for black people. Yep. And currently it shows up in things like prisons and things like school punishment, right? It's not fair. None of it is fair, just because of your skin color that you're treated differently. And so this idea of gatekeeping and racism means somebody in power, a white person, uses their role against people of color, especially black people, to tell them they can or can't do or be or live as a white person can. And that's why our culture is struggling so much, and rightly so, because we want to put it to an end, this practice. So if you hear the names of people in the news or from your parents, black people's names, Breonna Taylor or George Floyd, these are people who have been killed for the same reason in history that white people have used their power against their body because of their skin color, right? Because they were black, especially. And that's why people are so upset. That's why Unitarian Universalists are so upset and mad, because we believe that every person has inherent worth and dignity, and that nobody should be using their power against another person, especially not against a person because of their skin, right? Nature has not set it up that way. Nature has set it up that all of us are beautiful and that our skin is there to protect us, not to make us a target and not to have us be mistreated. Our story today comes from India, and it's called Once a Mouse. Once there was a hermit who lived out in the jungle by himself, and he sat one day thinking about big and little. And just as he was thinking about big and little, a little mouse came running around the ground, only to be almost snatched up by a crow who swooped down and grabbed the mouse right in front of the hermit. So the hermit got up, ran after that crow, and sure enough, he released the mouse, saving him from death. Now, the hermit was very kind and compassionate, and he took the mouse home to his hut, and he gave him some milk and some rice, and made sure he was well. And just as he started to be able to move about the space, a cat came, and a cat was threatening the mouse. And so it was that the hermit, who was also not only good at praying and being connected to the web of life, he was also good at magic. And so it was, as soon as the cat was about to grab the mouse, he changed the mouse into a cat, an even bigger, stout cat. Well, and there he was, who chased off the other cat. Now, the cat, as the hermit was sleeping, the cat was lying there underneath his bed. And then, just as they were there in the middle of the night sleeping, they heard a dog, or some kind of dog-like animal, barking in the night. Sure enough, it was a dog who approached, coming in near to their hut as a hermit was awakened. Oh my goodness. And so he used his magic, and he changed the cat into a bigger dog. Who chased the other dog away. Now the hermit had the dog near his hut very happily, until something else happened. A tiger came out of the jungle and pounced right on the dog. And just at that moment, the hermit again worked his magic and changed the dog into the most beautiful, largest royal tiger that you've ever seen. And the other tiger went away. Now, this royal tiger had a beautiful tail, and he was gorgeous. His coat was very beautiful, and something happened. As he started to prowl around the jungle, the hermit noticed that he was putting on such airs. That means he was thinking really highly of himself and like how all of that he was, and lording himself over all the other animals and elements in the jungle. And so the kind hermit finally said to him, "You know, Tiger, if it weren't for me, you'd still be just a mouse."
If it weren't for me, you'd still just be a mouse.
Now the tiger, who was all full of himself, didn't like hearing that at all. He felt humiliated, and he felt offended by the hermit. So much so that in his mind he thought, "I'm going to kill that hermit." And so the hermit, who read minds, read the mind of the tiger and changed that tiger back into a mouse. And the mouse then scooted away into the jungle and never was seen again. And that is the end of the story. Now, I wonder what you're thinking or feeling that that story might have to teach or remind us about, especially about our UU principles and values. What do you think, Olin?
I think the story shows a lot of messages about being humble and remembering what you are in place of everything else, staying humble to your position. So not getting ahead of yourself thinking, I'm all that because I'm so high and mighty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. So Olin's thinking that the story has to teach us about being humble and remembering our position and not thinking we're all high and mighty related to other things. Yeah, sure does teach us about that, especially the interdependent web of life, and maybe also about our inherent worth and dignity and where that goes. How about you, Noelle?
Well, I think this story teaches us a lot about knowing your roots and remembering like where you came from and where you grew up.
Yeah, so Noelle's thinking is about remembering, making sure we remember where we came from, remembering our roots, and to have appreciation for that passage. Yeah, that's true too. Yep. Ava, what do you think?
I think it reminds us to question and remember where our power comes from.
Yeah, so Ava's thinking is about where does our power come from? And reminding ourselves where our power comes from so that we don't offend with that power. Yeah, those are all really good parts of the story. And I agree. I'm wondering if there's anything else that you think or feel about the story. You can put it in the chat. So for our family connection today, I'll invite you to do a couple things. One thing you can do as a family is to make a family sculpture that represents having power with each other versus lording power over each other. So we learned today about gatekeeping, and we learned about power and responsibility from our story. So how do we express that as a family? Let's try to come up with a body sculpture that we do together right now that expresses having power with So being respectful of each other's place and supporting each other. Let's try it.
We should.
You have to stay there. What do you think?
Turn around, arms like this. We all hold the power together.
Oh,
Two different things going.
We
okay.
all hold the power, and we have. each
Oh,
other's
you're
back.
leaning. Oh, okay. That's really sweet. Okay, great. Thank you. So ours was to have each other's back and hold the power, hold each other up together. And so the second thing you could do is maybe talk a little bit about what does that mean as a family to have each other's back, or whatever your sculpture was. And to make sure that this week that we all have conversations around anti-racism. Like, what does that mean to us as a family? And how can we express this power with other people and support other people in that? So be sure to talk about together about what does that mean for us as a family, and how can each of us do what we can to stop racism and really value each other. Okay. So I asked my family if they remembered a song from when they were little, and we'll share it with you. Here we go. Under the sky, we are all one family. Under the sky, we are all one family. Under the sky. One more time. Under the sky, we are all one family. Under the sky, we are all one family under the sky. That's all for today. Bye for now. Sending love from church. See you next time.